Hey everybody, welcome back to the Game Informer Show, a weekly podcast covering the video game industry. Join us every Friday for a discussion with the latest gaming news, reviews, and exclusive reveals alongside Game Informer staff and special guests from around the industry. I'm one of your hosts this week, Alex Van Aken, and today I'm joined by Marcus Stewart. How you doing, Marcus?
What's up, Alex? Green shirt gang, rise up.
Yes, sir. Green shirt gang, let's go.
Woo, taking over.
Different shades, but still cut from the same cloth.
Well, you know, sometimes the grass is greener on other sides. And I guess it's the debate of which of our shirts is technically greener.
I think I'm greener.
Okay.
You've got a little
Brighter.
more blue in your shirt. Yeah.
Blue?
Yeah. Trust me, I do a lot of color grading. I've learned to see a lot of different colors inside of other colors. We're also joined by Charles Harte. How you doing, Charles?
I'm good. I guess I'm like mauve shirt gang. I don't know what color this is. Yeah, you'd say that? Okay.
I think we would call you the Mauve Avenger.
The Mauve Avenger?
I like that.
Does anyone get that
Red
reference?
Red Avenger, right?
No, it's a millennial out there that are Hey Arnold fans are losing their minds right now, and that's all you need to know.
I watched Hey Arnold, but not as much as anybody else.
I should have just assumed it was a Hey Arnold thing, I think, with Marcus from now on.
That's all. Yeah, that's all I say. Hey Arnold references.
Well, it's going to be a good episode. It's us three. Everyone else is busy either working on game reviews or on trips for work. So it's us three hold it down this week. We're going to be talking about Arc Raiders, Dispatch, Mortal Kombat Legacy Kollection, and maybe our Game of the Year cram sessions, what we're trying to fit in before the year ends and before we have to lock in our selections for the best games of the year. Because we are having those talks here at Game Informer. Just because of our magazine schedule, we have to have them a little earlier than usual this year. So it's the pressure is on. Knives out and the pressure is on.
The mud has been slung a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Relationships have been tested.
Yeah,
tears have been shed.
Yeah, I won't say who. I just dried my eyes, but allergies. No,
yes, of course.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I guess before we get into it, I do want to just give our listeners a heads up that the best way they can support us is by going to GameInformer.com/subscribe to pick up a Game Informer magazine subscription. You can get it either in print or digital.
Is it weird to sniff it? Does that help?
I think
generate
people like
interest?
sniffing. People like sniffing paper.
I don't mind sniffing it. I think it's something about doing it on camera feels wrong.
Wrong
you smell the book in the privacy of your own home.
Wrong or right?
Yeah.
Marcus said. I don't like that eyebrow raise.
Okay. Made it all worse. I don't even know what
Well, I want to get into Arc Raiders. I've been playing the hell out of it. I'm reviewing the game for Game Informer. So it's been all I've been playing lately. That's not true, but a lot of what I've been playing lately. And I really, really love it. For those who don't know, if you haven't been paying attention to the conversation or on Twitch or YouTube, it is a extraction shooter. And if you don't know what that is a subgenre of the first-person shoot. Well, not necessarily first-person shooter. This is a third-person shooter, but it's a subgenre of the shooter genre. It is PvPvE. You might have heard it called player versus environment. So there's a mixture of real players that you are, and in this case, cooperating with in a lot of senses. The community for Arc Raiders is very welcoming and pretty like helpful for other players. There are moments where you're going to be fighting people, but
I'm really glad you said that, because I did have questions about how I should be interacting with people in this game.
You know, it's interesting. It reminds me a little bit of. Sorry, I got distracted of how pale I am in the camera. Jesus,
You're like that newswoman. There's like there's like a clip of a newswoman who's just like zoning out, looking at the monitor. She's like, "I'm so pale," and then her co-anchor's like, "We're live right now," and she's like, "Ah, that you did that in real time."
Yeah, that while I was talking, which is wild. But yeah, this game kind of reminds me a bit of Helldivers 2 in the sense that there is a sort of people are buying into the sort of fantasy of humans versus machine, and inherently, and the robots in this game are Ark, which is, you know, the namesake enemies, the Ark, and you are the Raiders, who are kind of going up. Everyone lives underground in this subterranean city called Speranza that is full of you know, vendors, and you're navigating these vendors and stuff through a series of menus. You aren't like walking around or anything while you're down under. But when you are down under, you are you know, picking up quests. You're increasing your base. Like you have a series of, like, I think it's like 8 stations, like utility station, refiner station, where like, and all of this is ties into the big crafting system that is at the heart of the game, where you know, you are going out on these top side excursions to get loot that you need to build new parts of your base or new weapons or complete quests, and you are wanting to bring that valuable loot back. And you do that by extracting via elevators or raider hatches. But a lot of those make noise when they go off. And so it's kind of like that's where the tension of the PvP comes into play, because people can kind of be camping those exits and try to take you out. And that does happen. There, you definitely have to be vigilant. I will say this game, what I was getting at with the Helldivers 2 reference, is that the player base, it feels like there are a lot of really helpful people and a lot of people who, you know, are friendly and just, they want to do their quests. They want to get their stuff and get out. You know, but there's like always this tension. Like, are they telling the truth? Sometimes they aren't. Sometimes they are telling the truth, but in the case of my team, I was playing with Jacob Geller and Jesse Vitelli the other night, and Jesse was trying to ping the enemy squad to let us know that they were down there, and he accidentally misfired. He accidentally shot his gun, not meaning to. And so it turned into this whole thing where, like, hey man, we are friendly. Our buddy accidentally pressed the trigger button. We're really sorry. And then another
saying
squad.
In voice chat?
Yeah, proximity chat with other players.
Okay.
So like you're kind of doing like negotiating, like, hey, we need to go past where you're at. You need to come up here. Let's be friendly. Like I'm pressing the button to stow my weapon away. Where it's a game of politics, sort of, you know, and like, and then it's funny because you'll have those moments and you'll have those negotiations, and sometimes they don't even feel like negotiations. It's just like, oh hey, what's up guys? How are you? You know, let's you guys need help with any quests? You know, and they're like, yeah, let's do it together. And then I've done that where it happened to me yesterday where Jesse and I teamed up with a team in a pretty, one of the maps that is like known for PvP, but we all needed this certain quest done. We were looking for this room in this spaceport area, and another squad came in and started attacking us. But because like there aren't nameplates above anyone that's not in your party, they accidentally confused me for the enemy team, and so there's a bunch of miscommunication. Things went haywire, and it was just chaos, and I died by the team that I had kind of allied with, because they didn't realize that I wasn't an enemy. So there's a lot of like really fun social moments in the game. I've seen TikToks of people downing enemies in the game, downing other players. And the thing is, if you bring in a certain item, you can get people up. So you can always revive your own teammates, but in order to get up an enemy teammate, you have to use a defibrillator. But people will carry those, and I've seen people do, you're on the sing or die game show, you better sing for your life. And so they make the person they down like sing a song, and if they're impressed by it, then they let them live. Oh, and if not, they kill them.
That's some sociopathic behavior right there.
Yeah, there's a lot of that kind of stuff going on, but it all feels like very playful. But outside of like the social and like the kind of crafting core loop, the gunplay is just excellent. You know, the enemies, when you crack somebody's shield, it's almost like a firework goes off.
It's like when the Power Rangers get hit.
Yes, and the sparks
That's what it
fly off
reminds
of
me
them.
of. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's something so satisfying about like breaking somebody's shield. It reminds me of like the satisfaction I used to get in Gears of War when you land a headshot in the game. It was like this satisfying like crunch, and like it was like, oh man, I got to do more of that. I get that feeling from Arc Raiders, just like not even killing people but cracking shields.
Yeah.
But it has like this retro futuristic art style that I love. This is the second release from Embark. They also made the Finals, which is a game that I love. And that game and this game just have like really strong art direction. The lighting in this game is by far the prettiest extraction shooter I've played, for sure. But like it even pushes past that genre, and I think it's just one of the prettiest games I've played, period. Certainly the prettiest third-person shooter I think I've played.
Like just in general?
In general, yeah, I think so.
Wow. Okay, it is nice. What I like about it is that the vibe, like the robot sort of aesthetic, kind of reminds me a lot of Tales from the Loop. If anyone's familiar with the book or the Amazon show, but just sort of like just seeing these giant robots, like bipedal, or I guess in some cases like spider-like robots, just in these big open fields. Like it's very Tales from the Loop coded.
That's cool.
And yeah, it is a fun game to just kind of stare at and awe at. I have a very different experience from you, Alex, because one, I haven't played nearly as much as you, and I've only played solo so far, which I think it's worth noting. You can play this game alone. You don't.
I play solo a lot. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good, because yeah, I've intentionally just played alone just to kind of get my feet wet before. I get this anxiety when multiplayer games, if I'm not playing with friends, where like I don't want to learn alongside other people that already know what they're doing a little bit. Yeah. I kind of want to like let me kind of figure some stuff out, and then I'll have like a little bit more confidence to maybe not drag an entire squad down. So it's like I can't speak to the co-op experience, but it's kind of like a nice loneliness when you're playing alone. Like it kind of like feeds into the sort of like post-apocalyptic like survivor fantasy of like, it's just me on my own here. I don't know what really happened here. I could just tell robots came and ruined everything. And then every now and then I'll see another player. And this goes back to what I was going to ask you, like what the sort of like player etiquette is, because I've yet to engage another person so far, and no one has fought me yet, which I've been surprised by, because I just assumed that like everyone was out for everyone. And I was like, well, I'm by myself, so I'm like a prime target. And every time I've come across someone, like I've like locked eyes with them, or I know that they've seen me, and then instead of them like immediately firing, they just kind of like I had one instance where I saw someone, we paused for a second, looked at each other, and then he just kind of went the other way, and I was like, oh, and I was like ready to go. And then I kind of hesitated, and I was wondering, like, should I be trying to kill him? Like, should I be trying to kill people to get their like loot? Is that the PvP, or is it like, are we on a team? Like, is there any like formal like, are we working together, or is it just whatever you sort of decide?
It's all social contracts, right? It's up to you. And that's what I think is fascinating about the game, is that every round can be different based on the players that are inside and like their behavior and what they want to do, right? So you and that guy were like, it's not really worth getting into this fight right now. We both have loot we want to get out with. Maybe you were like, it sounds like you had a little bit of bloodlust. You were ready to go, but
well, not like bloodlust, but more like kind of like self-defense of like, I just expect people to be aggressive, so I'm just like, okay, I guess I got to be ready to defend I don't want to, but he's probably gonna come at me, and then I was like, oh, he's not. Okay,
I think that's fascinating about this game, because every extraction shooter I have ever played besides this one, it is like shoot on sight usually. Very rarely. I mean, I played a fair amount of Escape from Tarkov, which is probably the most notable extraction shooter to date.
Coming out of 1.0 soon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or coming into 1.0, I should.
And on Steam. And that game was always very hostile. It feels just so oppressive. And part of that is also the setting and the tone. It's very militaristic, very like, it's much more punishing than than I think Arc Raiders is, in terms of just the mechanics and the obstruction of information to new players. It's just really kind of brutal. And I would never recommend that for any of you in this call. You would absolutely hate it. But Arc Raiders, there is like this weird like thing happening where people are being friendly, they're being passive, they are waiting to shoot. Granted, you know, one of the most fascinating things I think about this game is people punish bullies. And so if you're the last night, actually, it was wild. Jesse and I had probably some of the best loot we had found in the game, like pink rarity items, which is the highest rarity I found. And we had like specifically been going out of order to be nice to people, and like we had been friendly with people, and we were running to the extraction elevator, and we just get sniped out of nowhere, like almost like we're wide open too. We're surrounded by arc. We're like kind of sprinting. We hear the elevator going off. I'm shouting friendly, 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 because we're just like bolting it to try to make it, because otherwise we're gonna die. I get clipped by this guy. I go down, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so mad. Like I'm gonna lose all of this great loot. Jesse is like scrambling because like they have us in this really bad position. And out of nowhere, we hear, I've got a defib. And it's this squad of 3 that just roll in. And one of them revives me. Jesse at this point is down as well. So we're both, it's hopeless. And it's like on your left. It's like that moment
where it's like this Deus Ex Machina.
Yes. This totally different squad comes in. We got defibs. So one guy starts shooting the guy who was killing us. And then they're like getting us up. I get up, I get revived. Then I get Jesse up while the other squad is like firing at the guy who is downing Jesse and I. And then all 5 of us storm forward and like take out this guy. But from all of the noise, we'd attracted one of the biggest arc, and we had attracted a Rocketeer who, if you get hit by a Rocketeer, it takes like 2 shots to get killed. Like he just shoots these massive rockets at you. And he's airborne as well, so he has this huge line of sight. And the game ended up, it was this huge conclusion. Also, there's a minute left on the clock at this point before all of us die from, you have like, there's a timer in every match, and if you don't extract by the time the match ends, you all die, because like a big arc comes in, and since there's like a big meteor comes, but it's a big robot, and kills whoever's still on the map, and you lose everything. So we're also going against that clock. And we managed to get the elevator open. There's still, it is the most chaos I have ever had in this game. There's so much happening. And I'm screaming to Jesse, we gotta go, we gotta go. And I'm like also trying to get the helpful people, because they have now been downed by the Rocketeer. At least one of their guys is down. And I'm like, you guys have to come. There's 19 seconds left. This is the last elevator out, and you're gonna lose your stuff. And they're like, I can't leave my buddy. And I'm like, they've already activated the return sequence. You have to get in. And Jesse and I watch from the elevator as the doors to the elevator rise, and we see like the people who had just helped us, they get stranded and they get left behind.
Oh, the ultimate sacrifice.
And they lost all their stuff. And I was just, Jesse and I were like speechless for like 2 or 3 minutes. He was like, I'm just still processing what just happened in that ending. And I was like, yeah, I feel
humanity moment.
Yeah, I feel terrible because those guys got us up and then they died. And I was like trying my best to get that. I was like, come on, like we're like waiting as long as possible. But then eventually the doors automatically close on their own.
It sounds like I've been playing with voice chat off just because instinctively when I play multiplayer games, it's the first thing I toggle. It sounds, should I have it on? Is that part of the experience, just hearing people? Okay.
You should have it on.
I just didn't think, I didn't think it'd be like immersion stories like that. I thought I'd just hear a bunch of like nonsense as you do in like 90% of multiplayer
I have not
games.
heard any nonsense whatsoever yet. Well, I mean, I've heard like very small stuff. Like I knock a guy out and he's like, F you. And I'm like, all right, GG. You know,
I mean, that's fair. I mean, I get
but
that,
nothing like you would hear in like a Call of Duty lobby or anything like that. Also, it's like it's like not advantageous to be constantly yapping over your mic because it's proximity chat and you'll give away your location.
Right.
I will say, like, for people who are like nervous about like engaging in the voice chat. And this kind of gets into a weird gray area for me. There's some parts about this game that I don't love in terms of like how it was made. And I had a similar critique with the finals in that like they use AI text to speech. So it is not AI generated voices.
Right.
They have contracted voice actors and paid voice actors to record lines and then also use their voice in the future via text to speech. And so there's a lot of debate online, and I think that's totally fair. Like if you want to skip this game because of that, because it does use AI in some form, that is totally fair. It is definitely like I wish that they had done it differently. But with that comes some accessibility options in that you can, in the menus, you can mask your voice and you will use one of the pre-selected like voice actors that they have contracted. You can speak and it will mask your voice to sound like an in-game character. So if you're a person, like, I mean, if you're, let's just be blunt about it. Like if you're a woman playing this game and, you know, you have you're facing a lot of toxicity in online games, or somebody else, you know, and anybody can use this, and you want to mask your voice to sound not like you, but you still want to engage with that aspect of the game. You can, and you can have your voice be a dude. You can have your voice be one of the more feminine sounding voice actors, and it'll mask your voice in real time. And I've seen a lot of people use that for like privacy and security. So that's also a feature you can use. So yeah, interesting tech. I definitely like have some conflicting feelings about it. Obviously we don't know what those contracts look like with those voice actors. Are they getting paid whenever Embark creates a new voice bark in the game? Are they getting royalties for that? We don't know, but it is like consensual, you know, people have agreed to a contract. Whether you agree if that's ethical or not is a totally different thing. But I do want to, like, that is part of the conversation with this game. So I do want to, I know some people that's like a complete no-go. And I think if I was not reviewing this game and I didn't get a free code, it would definitely play into my decision on like if I'm gonna purchase this game or not, you know. But yeah, it's something that I'm still like thinking through as I play the game. And there's like definitely some benefits to like, privacy and safety in online games. That's kind of an interesting way to use the tech. But then there's also like this other part that I feel like, I don't know if I love this. So that is part of the conversation though. So I wanted to bring that up. But yeah, in terms of like the actual gameplay though, and like the world, I think I'm really impressed by the level design and the gadget design. There are so many interesting gadgets in this game that are so fun to use, whether it's like a zip line or grappling hook you can eventually get. There are lure grenades. I'm sorry, my southern accent. I'm trying to lure grenades.
Oh, I would say I like the idea of a lure. It just explodes with exposition.
Lure grenade is maybe I gotta break through that. And that'll like, distract arcs. And I've used that to help my team escape several times where like there is a rocketeer on us, but and it is firing on us, but I'm gonna throw a lure grenade and he's gonna think that we're over there now. There's a lot of really fun systems that interplay together. And I'm just having a blast. I've played it every day for the last week, and I'll probably play it tonight as well. But yeah, I really am loving it. It is impressed me, and kind of blown me away in some of the things that it's doing. Yeah.
Is Embark your favorite studio now? Because between this and the finals, they're like 2-0 for you. It seems like.
They aren't my favorite studio, but I do like the games they make. I think some of the things that would hold me back from it being my favorite are the tech they choose to use. I don't love, and I critiqued it in the finals with like the voice to text stuff.
Sure.
I don't love that. And it's like kind of actively like hinders my max enjoyment of it, because I'm like, this is like a weird gray area that I don't like to think about as I'm like trying to enjoy this game. And like, if you had just like maybe done it the more traditional way, I would maybe have a fully voiced endorsement of that studio.
A text-to-speech voice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I think my favorite studio is probably Arcane. Arcane or Blizzard. I mean, WoW's my favorite game, and it'll take a lot to kind of dethrone that. But yeah, so
Marcus,
that's
do you just have
creators.
a favorite developer?
Do I have a favorite developer?
You just asked Alex his. Like, I didn't know if that's a thing everyone had. And I was like, oh, I don't think I've ever thought about it.
I mean, I don't know if I have a singular favorite. I definitely have. I mean, we're going to talk about one of them later on with MK Legacy Collection, because NetherRealm is in the conversation.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't know. That could be a podcast topic in itself. I don't know if I've ever given it true thought of like a singular favorite.
Yeah, I think Arcane would be in the running for me for sure. I love their worlds, but yeah. So that's Arc Raiders. I'm still pondering on my review. It's gonna score pretty high for me. Probably right now, if I had to give it a score, it would be at least a 9. Is kind of where I'm at. It would probably be higher. But some of those other considerations I've mentioned kind of do weigh in on my score. So I don't know. I'm still figuring it out and what I want to give it. But, you know, on paper, the game is fantastic. It's really something. And yeah.
Not to influence your review, but I think you should include some sort of like in memoriam for the brave squad that gave their lives for you and Jesse.
Yeah, I will have them in the video review, I think.
Yeah,
I've got a lot of clips.
Moment of silence, maybe like a 10-second moment of silence for them.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, black screen.
Yeah, like horn orchestral music playing, somber
taps.
tones.
Just taps playing.
It is a whole thing of like, I always like it when a game has like enough emergent stuff like that you have like war stories about it. That's just like a general thing, but I feel like that was even more. I feel like this game has been maybe the most intense war story generating game I've seen before. Just seeing
it's
clips online. I feel like you can see a 1-minute clip of a game of a lot of other games and be like, oh, that was funny, or oh, that was interesting. And I feel like all the Arc Raiders clips I see are like the end of a movie. I'm like, how did we get to this point? Yeah,
I think I try not to read other people's reviews, especially when I'm writing a review. I did see people share little bits and pieces of Mark Delaney's review over at GameSpot. I think he called it like a story generator or a story machine. And that feels like a very accurate descriptor. And I'm jealous I didn't come up with that term. But yeah, it's really great. So stay tuned in the coming days for my review, but I really do love it. And I think it's doing some really special things. So yeah. But Marcus, you mentioned Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection. Why don't we go ahead and jump into that? And then we'll get a dispatch after that.
Yeah, I wish I had more time to play more of it than I have, just because I've been busy with my own review game that I can't talk about till next week. But yeah, Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection is the next. It's like unofficially a Gold Master game by Digital Eclipse, who is probably best known now for like their like interactive documentaries like Atari 50 and the making of Karateka. I think the last one before this was the Lamasoft, the Jeff Minter story. Like I really enjoy all of those games. Like I love documentaries in general, and I think they've carved like a cool niche for themselves with sort of the like interactive timeline stuff, and then having like just accompanying that with the collection of classic games to sort of fill out the subject's history, whether it's a developer or an individual creator. And so when they announced this, I was like through the roof, because Mortal Kombat is my favorite fighting game franchise ever, and it's in my like top 5 favorite franchises. Like I've been a huge MK fan since the very beginning. And it's interesting because I've read so much about just the making of MK through like various books and other smaller sort of like documentary style features like they've done, like they used to do those kind of clips in the 3D fighters of the 2000s, like Deadly Alliance and Deception. They've done like sit downs like Ed Boon and whatnot. But this might be, I haven't finished the documentary yet, but from what I've seen of it so far, this might be the definitive version. At least, you know, we'll see. I still have a ways to go. I probably shouldn't even say that, but it's been very good so far.
Yeah.
It's like, what I love about it, I mean, one, it's cool to see Ed Boon and John Tobias like side by side again, the two co-creators of Mortal Kombat. You know, John Tobias left NetherRealm around the time of like MK4. So I think a lot of people forget, and I usually take issue whenever Ed Boon is kind of credited as the sole creator of Mortal Kombat in a lot of like news stories. Like I've had times where I've edited stories like, no, he co-created it. Like there was another guy. Kind of like saying like Stan Lee is the sole creator of Spider-Man. It's like,
right, yeah.
You know? But yeah, seeing them side by side and just chatting again, it's like a really cool treat just seeing them bounce stories about not only just like the history of the series, but sort of their pre-MK history, because the first chapter gets into like, you know, their childhoods and how they got into the arcade industry and like early Midway, and like Ed Boon, you know, working on pinball machines, and John Tobias as a young comic book artist, you know, starting with like working with Eugene Jarvis and illustrating like some like Robotron or like and like Smash TV and other stuff. And kind of like how the two of them were working in the same building, and then kind of converged at a point and said like, hey, we have this idea for like, you know, these kind of like digitized actors, like this technology is kind of starting to take off with games like Pit Fighter and like Narc, everyone's favorite arcade game Narc. What if we use that technology to make like a fighting game based on our love of like kung fu movies at the time, during like the height of like kung fu and like ninja media being everywhere. So you get a lot of really good sort of like sit downs with like Sal DeVita and Dan Forden, who is like, he himself is pretty timely because he just retired from NetherRealm after being there from pretty much almost the beginning. So it's kind of interesting watching him now, knowing that his journey has come to an end. For those that don't know, Dan Forden was like the longtime sound designer and like the composer, but he's most famously known as the Toasty guy in the MK3 and 2 of like, you know, the Toasty, the little guy that pops up on the side. That's him. But what's really neat about it is all of the footage, like just candid behind the scenes footage of them as like these kids in these like tiny offices, just discussing what would become Mortal Kombat. And like seeing these sort of like rehearsal sessions with the digitized actors of like, you just see the like, oh, here's the guy that's dressed up as Scorpion in MK1 and also Sub-Zero because they just did the palette swap for the colors. And just watching them go through the motions of what would become these iconic finishing moves of like the coolest thing I've seen so far. And it's got its own chapter in the timeline, is just raw footage of Ed Boon and John Tobias walking the Scorpion actor through what would become the rope spear for the first time, which is like definitely the most iconic move in Mortal Kombat, and arguably the most iconic move in fighting games, maybe second only to the Hadouken.
Yeah.
But it's very like, that one in particular really got me because have you guys seen Get Back, the Beatles documentary that Disney Plus put out a few years ago?
No, I've definitely heard about it though.
Okay. Great documentary, and I'm a big Beatles fan, but there's a point in that 4-hour or whatever long thing where you see Paul McCartney like in real time kind of come up with the song Get Back. Like he's just like strumming on a guitar to himself, and you can tell he's feeling in his head, and you just start to hear those like that recognizable notes kind of like come to be, and he's kind of like just like humming to himself, finding it, and it's like And they like make a point to move it to highlight, like, this is when Get Back was got made, guys. You're watching it and you're like, wow, that's crazy. That's one of their most iconic songs. It's like that. I'm not even, it sounds like hyperbole, but for like an MK fan to watch them just like piece together, like, okay, what should the rope spear look like? Like if you throw your arm like this and you see like he's doing multiple takes of like, maybe swing your arm this way. And then John Tobias in the back kind of, because he's the one cutting out the frames and animating it, kind of going like, yeah, I might be able to work with that. I could probably cut out some frames here. And then there's a point where like he's done it like 5 times. And then Ed Boon's like, wait, actually, instead of like just kind of like dropping your arm, what if you like yanked, like do like a little yank, so like really add some like, you know, make it more dynamic. So you just see him do the yank and then you're like, oh, that's it, that's the rope spear. Now you just need to say get over here, and there it is. But yeah, it is their Get Back moment for me.
That's so cool.
That's like the kind of thing they like try to emulate in like prequels to stuff of like, what if we showed the moment that what's like an example? I don't know. To do it artificially is so cheesy, but to see it in real life, it's like that's why people are trying to do it all the time, because it is so cool to see it in real time. This also, to be clear, people that aren't familiar with this also has Mortal Kombat games in it you can play. It's not just a documentary.
No. It's a collection of Mortal Kombat, primarily 1 through 4.
Okay.
And like multiple versions of each. Okay. So it's like, the various arcade versions, the various home console versions. They have the like super rare like wave version of MK3 that I think this is the first time it's ever been playable outside of just the original cabinet. I think MK4, I believe, is the only one that I think it's just the arcade version, but it's not like there's only one version of MK4 compared to the multiple versions of 1 and 3. But it's also got the less talked about handheld entries of Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance and stuff, which is kind of as far as it goes in like the time, like it doesn't include the actual like console versions of Deadly Alliance or Deception. But it's got like those Game Boy and GBA games in there. And then for me, it's funny because these games are terrible, but it also includes the adventure games like Mortal Kombat Mythology Sub-Zero and Mortal Kombat Special Forces, 2 infamously terrible games. It's still like legitimately 2 of the worst games ever made. It's cool to have them available on modern platforms just for preservation's sake. Like I have a physical copy of Special Forces, which is the game that stars Jax and was on PS1, and I beat that game in college. It is an awful, awful video game. I do not plan on replaying it, but I have.
You said the word replay.
Well, speaking of which, I do have I do want to play Sub-Zero because I never owned Sub-Zero. I remember when a friend of mine got it when it came out, and I went to his house, and we were both super excited because we were both really into Mortal Kombat. And we're like, oh man, it's going to be great. It's just a side scroller with Sub-Zero. And then it's just the epitome of garbage. But now at least it's a little easier because those games have save states and a rewind ability in this package. So and I think they've modernized the controls as well. I have not fired up Sub-Zero yet. I've just kind of been jumping around to traditional fighters. But yeah, I have thought about like, is this a super replay? Is getting through the entirety of Sub-Zero? It was one of the earliest regular replays was Mythologies. So, you know, who knows? We'll stay tuned. No promises there. But, you know, it's cool to dive in there and just, like I said, just throw hands. It's got my favorite 2D entry, which is Mortal Kombat Trilogy. I think that's the best of the old school games. So being able to have that to fire up at will, I don't have to keep dusting off the physical copy I own anymore. I know there's been some issues, particularly on PlayStation, it sounds like, with like online play that I know Digital Clips has been kind of working on. I have not tried to play online. Well, scratch that. I've not tried to play online since release. There was an issue where so Brian Shea reviewed this game, and he wanted to test the online kind of pre-launch because we were under the understanding that the servers would be open. So we tried to play together and then realized that there's no option to create private lobbies. Like you can't just play another friend online at will. You have to just kind of hop into a public lobby and then hope that you
find
match
each other.
up. Yeah. And we couldn't do it, even though this is pre-launch and no one's playing it, and we're playing like a very specific version of MK3. That's like, okay, we have to be the only two in here, and neither of us could match up with each other or anyone else. But I believe they've said that like expanded online options are coming via a patch like later on. So if you're looking to play online with friends, you might want to wait for that before diving in.
Does this have rollback netcode?
I believe so. Don't quote me on that. I want to say
I also believe so. That sounds correct.
And I believe I don't know if it's for every single game, but I think it's supposed to be for most of them. But I mean, that in itself is wild. Like the idea of playing MK1 online with rollback netcode.
Yeah, they do tout rollback. I typed in MK Legacy Kollection rollback netcode, and our review comes up. It's the first search result, which you love to see.
You love to see.
But yeah, so apparently it does tout rollback netcode, despite not being able to really play together.
Yeah, Alex. Also, when you type that in? How did you spell collection?
With a K.
Okay, just making sure. I'm just going to call. I'll put the phone down and not have to call the police on you.
Yeah. Also, please add to all of your searches -AI, so that it just shows search results and not Google's AI BS.
Oh, is that the way around that?
Yeah, you just type in -AI at the end.
There's also
you can also get because like people are like, well, just don't use Chrome, and I'm like, I wish I could. There's a lot of things I have to use that for my job.
Yeah, it's a little too much of a scorched earth solution.
Yeah. So do -AI in the search results, or I have now installed on my laptop at least a Google Chrome extension that disables all AI search results.
I guess you could say that's the fatality code for AI.
Yes, I love that. That's good.
Can't spell fatality without A and I. Is that anything?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
That is true. Yeah,
but what am I saying with that?
I guess you're just pointing it out.
AI is death. AI equals fatality.
AI will rip your spine out of your body.
You can also go in my Chrome settings. I have it so when I search in the bar, there's a bunch of different tabs of Google. And there's like the all tab that it defaults to. And then there's like images and videos and stuff. One of the tabs is just web. And it doesn't have any like auto populating stuff. And so that's mine defaults to the web tab. And I just get websites. Which is awesome.
Oh, okay.
Good.
Also, on the subject of fatalities, what's cool about this collection is they have a feature where you can have unlimited fatality time. So at the end of matches, you can turn off the
just 10 seconds you get. Time.
Yeah, like it just gives you like unlimited time to practice them so that when you do play against other people, you can just bust them out. And they'll be like, whoa, this guy is so good. He burned me alive as Scorpion. Who would have thought? But yeah, I'm having a really good time with it. Like I said, this is like a dream project for me. I even had it in mind when I did a big feature on Digital Eclipse a couple of years ago for the magazine, where I was interviewing Chris Kohler, who's one of the heads of the Gold Master collection there.
Shout out Chris Kohler for sharing the recommendation of the Beep store in Akihabara. Ever since I learned, I think I might have stumbled upon it like a couple months before on a trip before he went on Kelsey Lewin's show. But at one point in time, they were discussing like their favorite retro game shops, and he said Beep, and I was like, oh, that's the one in the basement I went to, and it kind of solidified it as, okay, it's good to know that this is like a known banger of a place. I know bangers. And so that is like every time I go to that store because of Chris Kohler. So shout out.
Okay. Yeah. When I did the feature about that, in my head, I was just talking about, because he was talking about dream projects that he has. Like, his dream project is Miyamoto Mario for like a Gold Master thing, which of course it would be. But in my mind, I was like, Mortal Kombat would be pretty cool too. So I'm glad that happened. And I know for most people, the main event is going to be the collection of games, which, that's great and absolutely. But if you're a Gold Masters fan, like this is what you expect. Like, it doesn't really shake up what they've done before in terms of the interactive documentary, but it's still as well done. And thankfully, NetherRealm is a good topic in terms of the sheer amount of footage and like materials that they have saved over the years. Like, there's a lot of old arcade, like advertisements and like design docs. Like John Tobias has his notebook where you see the earliest drafts of the Mortal Kombat story and like the characters with their old names, and he's just writing them down as archetypes of like Raiden mentor question mark and then just like Michael Grimm, which was Johnny Cage's old name, like seeing him referred to in his old name for a while. So yeah, there's a lot of really cool, just like physical material that I've spent like minutes just like zooming in and just reading his like thankfully well-written notes in terms of like he's got good handwriting, which is nice. Just awesome. Being like, man, it's wild to see such an iconic cast. Just, you know, just someone scribbles on a notebook, just being like, I don't know, what do we call Liu Kang? We had this like overly long Japanese name before we shortened it down to Liu Kang, and Stryker was in the game before Sonya Blade and Jax were a thing, and it's like weird little fun nuggets like that. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm excited to get through the rest of it.
Well, speaking of getting through the rest of it, the episodic release of Dispatch continues. Charles, I know you had plans to play episode 5 and 6, right?
I did.
What happened?
Yeah, my save data got messed up, which was annoying. I'm still not sure exactly what the issue is. I haven't like reached out to support or anything yet, so it could be fine. But
yeah,
from what I've seen, it's if you are playing on a save, if you try to make a new save, or you just open up a new save file, which I must have done, but I don't really remember doing it. And it's when you exit the game on that new save that it apparently is like messing up people's save data, because they'll load the game in and it'll think you haven't done anything, even if you switch to the older save file. And it looks like for a lot of people, the fix is you play the first episode up until it does the first save point. Then you can exit that second save and reload your first save. But for mine, it has seemingly only remembers my episode 1 progress, has erased episodes 2 through 4, which is frustrating. So eventually, either I'll get support to help me out, or I'll just have to replay episodes 2 through 4, which isn't the end of the world, but have not played the newest episodes. But I still like the game, obviously. And Alex, you finally got a chance to play it.
Where are we all at, real quick, by the way, in terms, because I still have only played the first 2 episodes just because I've been busy.
I finished the second episode last night, so I've started this week playing it for the first time, and not every evening because I've only done 2, but 2 of my nights this week since Monday, I have sat down and played a Dispatch episode right before bed. And it's kind of like it's a lot better of a thing to like slow down and like still get to enjoy like a story.
Yeah.
Without having to play Arc Raiders right before I go to bed. Cause like that's the game I've been playing. And I'm like, I should like do something more chill before I go to sleep.
It's a good wind down when you've played something a little bit more involved.
Yeah. And Dispatch is like, that the frequency that's operating on is much more chill, and it's been a nice way to end my evenings before headed to bed. And I really love it. I know there's some discourse about it having bad writing.
Wait,
online.
Is there?
Yeah,
I don't think it does. I just missed those claims.
I guess I've enjoyed the writing quite a lot, at least in the episodes I've seen. So I guess
I agree. I think the writing is just fine. I really dig the characters and some of their motivations, and like I really like one of the best parts about superhero media is, you know, seeing the creative ways in which heroes use their powers, right? Obviously. And last night at the end of episode 2, this is not a spoiler, but just like they reveal how there's like a water guy. And he kind of Waterman or whatever,
Water Boy,
I think,
Water Boy,
yeah. And like he kind of gets featured in episode 2, and I don't know what I was thinking, but at the end he used his power to like clean off. He's like doing janitorial work, and I don't know. I was just thinking he would like spawn water or something. But he starts coughing up water, and I'm like, "That's your power? Is you have to like
just vomits water,
like spits it up."
So gross.
Yeah, and I was also, like, "That's so funny."
Also, he's played by Joel Haver, who is a very funny YouTuber who I've always been a fan of. He does some really good like
I've never watched their stuff.
Rotoscoped animation skits.
You might have seen it, Alex, or I don't know.
Okay,
he's very very distinctive animation style, but does a lot of like video game adjacent stuff.
Yeah, he's very funny. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, I'm just really enjoying the game. You know, the kind of tactical mini games are. I don't really love the hacking mini games. Although there was a moment last night where I beat one of the hacking mini games just under the wire as one of the timed ones, and that was cool. That felt like really. Oh, I do feel like a hacker, but when there's no timer on them, it just feels like busy work. There's something about adding a timer to it.
They're not bad. They're just like there.
Yeah. There are later ones that do like raise the stakes a little bit in like episodes 3 and 4 because there's like enemy guys that'll be in there.
Oh, it's like if I fail, I'm gonna let down my.
Well, it's
what's
like
gonna happen.
You're like there's like the antivirus software is basically like in the
program itself.
In the mini game. Got it.
And it'll be stuff of like you can activate this bridge to this next area, but the enemy's over there, so you have to like time it right to like try to isolate him or to get around them and stuff. So. Yeah, I don't think it's like the best mini game in the world, but I think in the grand scheme of things, I'm just like, yeah, it comes and goes and it's fine. It's not like.
But I do like how like the actual dispatch gameplay, like working as a dispatcher, is like really good and like really fun. Like I was sucked into it. I was almost like semi dreading it initially, just because I was really enjoying sort of like the story and like making choices and stuff, and then it's like almost literally feeling like, oh, I gotta go to work now. And then realizing like after the first kind of like tutorial, and then once you really start doing it, it's like, oh, this is like really like I'm into this. Like I'm like really like involved with like considering like who is the best superhero to send out. Like I'm reading all their like little bios and like, okay, like, and then also like I like synergizing them of like maybe like which two go together the most. And some of it is just like kind of getting to know the personalities enough to kind of go, I think you would actually be a bad public speaker for this this like community event just because I've had interactions with you. It's like like I didn't like talking to you, so I doubt you're going to be like a good spokesperson for us, so maybe I'll hang you back. But yeah, it gets like intense in a way that I maybe wasn't completely expecting.
Yeah, I remember when we first started talking about this game, Charles, on the podcast a couple weeks ago, and you had mentioned in the dispatch minigame stuff, it's really not a minigame. It's like it's a fully fledged like part of the game. I think the hacking is a minigame, whereas this is like a pretty well fleshed out system that you're interacting with. But I remember you had mentioned like, oh, I'm kind of like taking a guess based on character design and like behavior about like who I should send, because it's not always clear where you should send people. Like sometimes it's like you're gonna need to punch stuff. It's like, okay, well, I'm gonna obviously send the guy who has.
We need a smart person for this.
Yeah, and to be clear, like, you can see everyone's stats also. So I'm going like, it'll say we need someone to punch this, and I'm like, well, this guy's got really high, offense stats, so I'm gonna send him that.
However, some of them are more ambiguous, and that's when you're like, I'm kind of going off of vibes. And like I feel like this person, I feel like they would be well suited to this. And then seeing that either go horribly wrong or seeing it actually pay off and be like, oh, I was right, is really satisfying.
I had one where the girl's like, oh, there's a cat in a tree, but we need to get it down, but also we don't want to scare this child. And I thought about
none of the ugly ones.
I thought about Sonar. Like Sonar is like the Batman. Like he's literally just Man Bat from Batman, but in a suit, and he's like really smart. And I was like, well, he can fly, so he'd be able to get the cat down pretty quick. But also he's a bat creature, so that would probably terrify this child. So like, which one is what matters more here?
Yeah.
There's the like stuff I wasn't mentioning because I think the game hadn't come out yet. Now there's a little bit more, so I can like talk about the mechanics a little bit more. As you play the game, you'll like get to like level up your heroes basically, and they each have like a passive ability, and you get like a second one for a lot of them. You get to choose what it is. You can kind of like spec them into certain areas of like, oh, I really want this guy to do this or that guy to do one. I don't know if it's an unlock thing or a later thing, but there's like a big rocky guy whose name I can't remember.
Yeah, he's like
is he the Clayface looking guy?
Yeah, voiced by Young Gravy, by the way.
Wait, really?
Yeah, rapper Young Gravy.
You don't know who Young Gravy is, Marcus?
Should I?
You don't need to. It's fine.
You don't need to, but I'm
Like
surprised.
an influencer? Or?
He's a rapper. Yeah, he's like
but he is known for dating older women. That's like part of his persona.
That's such a random fact.
No, that's like he's dating somebody very prominent.
No, it was like a weird thing of like it was like Addison Rae's mom or something like that. It was like a TikTok.
But how old is he?
Yeah.
Mom. He's like 30 maybe.
Yeah, 30.
Oh, I think that's if you're 30. I think at that point you're like
yeah.
I'm typing into
Anyway,
Google, who has young Gravy?
I hope that's part of his the rock
nothing to do with what I
guy's
was about to
character is that he
say.
only dates older superheroes.
He has a thing where if he's the only one in the party, he fills up all the other slots, and his stats like increase proportionally, which I think is like a really cool ability that I like using with him.
Because he's like a tanky guy. Like I sent him because there was like, oh, we need a guy that can kind of take some damage here.
It's a thing of like his stats will increase by, I'm making this number up because I don't remember, but it's like 25% per empty slot. So you can drop him in a lot of stuff solo and it'll do really well. But yeah, and then and I really like how there's ways that like your roster can change and like your hero's powers can change and stuff that like keeps it interesting from chapter to chapter. I think it's easy to play. Not that you guys are saying this, but I think someone could play the first chapter and be like, oh, all right, I get it. And not understand, like, it is going to get more interesting as you level up and get more items.
Yeah, like even in the second episode, they start introducing more of the like team synergies of like, oh, if you put this person with this person, then they can do this really specific ability or their stats go up in a weird way. You're like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did try to find out who Young Gravy's dating, and I couldn't sit through it. It was a really long. It was like a 4-minute TikTok.
Yeah,
it was. I was gonna say it's its own Wikipedia.
The only
page.
one I saw was Amaranth, who's a streamer.
Okay,
and I didn't get through the rest. I'm sorry. I let you guys down.
That's okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, and I went to singles on his Wikipedia, and it's his songs, not the singles he's dated.
That's really funny. Thought he would have that. I was gonna say also the thing we mentioned before. I don't know if it's like super clear. If you haven't played Dispatch, you're not familiar. Very much an adult game. There is like a good bit of nudity.
Not a family game.
Not a family game.
I saw a penis.
Lots of swearing. Yeah, multiple penises.
Multiple.
I don't want to spoil. I'm not even spoil what episode it is, but one of the episodes in 3 or 4 has like a much more extended sexual scene that you don't play that in the living room with your family around. I have been playing this game.
Play this on an airplane.
I've been playing it on the TV in like my living room, and just the way I've been playing games recently is I'm on the couch, my fiance's next to me, and her mom is just also in the room doing something else. And this is one where like her mom was out of the room, and I was like, oh, thank goodness she was not in the room for that, because that would have been very awkward.
There's a reason I only played in my room at night in the dark.
Yeah.
Is it more on?
Would it be more awkward if your family did walk in on this? And is it more awkward if they're like horrified the way you would expect, or they get engaged and they start offering like, oh, you should make this decision actually? Like they start giving their 2 cents on how you should navigate this scene.
I don't know. It's all bad.
Do those scenes have like choices?
The one I'm thinking of does not. And there might be more of them later on. Just the one that occurred to me, I was like, oh wow, that was a lot.
Okay, that's good. They're like, no, you should hit X. You should hit X.
That was like an old God of War thing, right? There's like quick time sex events.
Yeah, the Greek God of Wars. Yeah, they're QTE sex scenes.
Yeah, not like it wasn't like that, at least, or maybe it was. I don't know. It's quite, you'll know it when it happens. That I
will say, when I first started this game, speaking of QTEs, I put it on cinematic mode.
Oh, interesting.
I was like, I don't really know if I want to do the QTEs. Like I kind of just am in the mood to like watch this thing and then play the dispatch gameplay. But then in the scenes where you have to make choice, there's just like really long, awkward pauses where like the action just slows down, but there's nothing on screen. And I was like, all right, I'm turning the QTEs on because this is not good.
I left those on just because I wasn't sure. I was afraid cinematic mode would mean no engagement. Like you just want to watch this as a TV show and it plays itself.
Still have choices.
Okay. It doesn't make that clear in the description, so I just I'm just gonna go QTE.
Yeah, I would just recommend go QTEs. There's like a weird like awkwardness to the scenes if you have it in cinematic mode, in my opinion.
Yeah. Plus you can speed by them faster in case a family member walks in on a questionable moment.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm really enjoying Dispatch. It's probably going to be in my top 10. I think almost for sure. As long as like, I know this thing's still coming out and like, we don't know how it ends, but as long as things don't take a wild left turn and the quality just goes downhill, like I'm really enjoying it. It's breezy, it's not the deepest thing, but there's some, I think I got a little jaded or tired of like the adult superhero thing with like Invincible and The Boys, I was kind of like, okay, I get it. Superheroes can be bad. And this is kind of doing a similar thing, but not nearly to that extent.
The Boys and Invincible both have like an element of like almost like misery, like reveling in the misery of the characters.
Yeah, nihilism.
Yeah, of just being like, what if you were a superhero but your life was terrible and it was so violent and everyone was bad? And there's like, I don't know, there's enjoyable things about both those shows for sure, but Dispatch is a lot more adult, just in like, it's an adult comedy, and I personally don't feel the superhero fatigue as much with it because it's so much more focused on like the characters and their relationships than it is about them as heroes. Yeah,
100% agree. Yeah, it's really working for me.
Yeah, it's cool.
Well, cool. Well, before we round out the rest of the show and get out of here, I do want to kind of open it up. Charles, you had mentioned like, and this is very true for all of us. We're kind of in like GOTY Cram sessions. You know, I mentioned at the top of the show that we are actively having our Game of the Year talks at Game Informer right now. And, you know, we've kind of got like a list of the nominees as they are for like our top 10. And we're all kind of playing catch up, even though we still have a lot more time for our personal lists. But we are definitely in that point where it's like, it's kind of go time. And so a lot of us are doing like cram sessions because we want to like, you know, if we're making big decisions about like what gets removed, what gets added, you want to be informed and make sure like you are being fair to all the games there. And so, yeah, a lot of us are playing other games and kind of catching up. Charles, what games are you catching up on, any, if any?
Yeah, the main one I've been playing, finally playing Clair Obscur, which Alex and I were bonding about before the podcast of neither of us really got that far in it because we had like the first big major twist spoiled for us.
Both of us, yeah.
Yeah.
And it definitely took the winds out of my sails.
Yeah, that was exactly the phrase I was going to use. And now I'm finally getting around to it and I'm like, oh yeah, this game rocks. And it's always a nice thing when you go into a game for one thing. Like I think Dispatch is a good example of like, I went into that for the story and was pleasantly surprised. Like, oh, I also think it's fun. I also like the dispatching stuff. This is one I was going into for the music and the story and the aesthetics and the like acting performances. And I'm at a point now where I'm like, oh, I love this combat. I'm like having a lot more fun with it like 8 hours in than I was at like 2 hours in, obviously, because I'm just getting a lot more stuff in. But yeah, I don't need to like spend a long time explaining why this is a good game, but it is a good game.
It's been talked to death this year.
Yeah. And then the other thing I've been doing is we each have our games that we're like arguing for Game of the Year. We have stuff that's up there. The one I was like, I want to make sure I'm like fully informed, know what I'm talking about. So my fiance Alyssa and I, we started a new save in Blueprints.
Love it.
We got to the credits the first time, but my understanding of the game is that there's so much more past that, and I just never had time to do it. But instead of us just jumping back in that one save, we kept our notes from that save. So we know all the things we used to know. We just started.
Does the information change, like numbers and that kind of stuff, or?
I don't think so. I think it's pretty much a game that, like, if you know the stuff, because some of it's pretty specific when it's like a date or something.
Some of them are like safes and that kind of thing, and I wasn't sure if it scrambled those or not. You know,
those are the same because, well, I can't even explain why without spoiling it. But those are all the same.
Into like story stuff.
Yeah, but we did a run on day 5 yesterday and almost got to credits, but there was like one part of the game we just didn't have it yet. It was like a room that we hadn't found yet, that if we had gotten it, we would have gotten to the end. And so now I was like kind of bummed by that, but it's obviously still like the game. Wanting to get more into like the deeper stuff to kind of defend it, the Game of the Year thing, because it's one of those games that like you can spend. I know people that are like, oh, I spent 100 hours and I just feel like I'm understanding this game, or I just got to the true ending or whatever. I'm like, what does that mean? Versus there's some people, I don't want to name names or point fingers, but some people on staff, but also just some people in general that like played a few hours of it and they're like, it's not for me. And I understand when a game's not for you, but it's hard with Blueprints because there's like so many layers of it that to get a little bit into layer 1 and say this isn't the game for me is like, I feel like you don't even understand what the game is yet if you're stopping at that point. So I'm hoping to be able to come into the talks and be like, if you haven't played it, this is like trying to do so without spoiling necessarily, but like this is why it's such a big deal and why we can't just kind of write this off as like another roguelike.
I think it's gonna ranked pretty high for us.
I think so.
On
yeah,
staff.
it's pretty high up on my personal 10. Like
it's in my top 5 still.
I rolled credits on it after putting in like 40 plus hours.
Yeah, I rolled credits. I just looked on Steam. Mine was 33 hours.
Yeah, like I found a lot of stuff. Like non-critical stuff.
Same.
Yeah. I did it after 27 hours, I think. But the catch was that I did it essentially co-op because I was playing the game and Alyssa was next to me like writing notes. We have like a whole color coordinated journal and stuff. So some puzzles were a lot easier when you have like
that sounds awesome.
2 heads doing it at the same time. It is great, ideal, good relationship building. But yeah, Blueprints is I'm revisiting it, but I already really like it. But that's the other one where I'm like I'm pulling for it.
That's cool. I dig that.
I know I've got like I'm also still finishing Claire Obscure. Like I was told by Wesley, who did finish it, when I asked him like just a progress report, like here's where I'm at, how long, and he's like, you had probably like a solid 8 hours. Like you're not far from the end. Like if you just mainlined it. And then Kyle also mentioned like, I guess one of his frustrations with the game was like, you know, you can just kind of mainline it because a lot of these sort of like the big in-game stuff doesn't really unlock until like the last act or like right when you're at the end of the game.
How many acts are there? Do you know?
I think it's just 3.
Okay. I just started.
At least it feels like it's 3 because if that's the correct estimation from where I'm at, then there's no room for more than 3.
Yeah.
Because things are happening where I'm at. But yeah, like, you know, the kind of like when you're going around the world, you find like those optional fights that are like, they tell you like, hey, you're going to die. Yeah. Kyle was just like, he's like, yeah, that doesn't really change until like the very end. So don't like, because I kept checking back every time I like hit a milestone of like, surely I'm ready now. Like I can mess up some things pretty good. And it still gets me the like, you will get stomped into the dirt. And yeah, he's just him telling me like, stop going back. Just literally don't wait until you're at the last boss fight too. And I was like, okay, that's great. I'm going to ignore those then. You know, there's other stuff you can do, but in terms of those big ones, it's like, okay, I can just pretend they don't exist. So I'm trying to blow past that. I've like gotten into Ghost of Yotei like in earnest now because I only played like the first like couple hours for the stream we did, and then I just fell back into review games and just so many other stuff.
Yeah,
but I've picked it back up. I've put like probably like 8-ish hours into it. I still have not killed any of the Yotei 6 yet.
Yeah, that first one takes a while.
And I guess, I don't know if we're going, because they kind of leave it up to you of who to target when, it seems like. So at least the one I'm going towards, I'm like at their doorstep, but there's like more steps involved.
Is it the Oni?
I've chosen the Oni, yeah.
Okay. I would be surprised. I don't actually know what it looks like to do the other ones, but
I'm curious too, because it's very, like, I think I know what you said, like the narrative kind of feels like that should be the first one.
Yeah. You'd have to go out of your way to do the other one second, but maybe it's yeah. I'm gonna look that up now. Actually,
I literally only chose it because it was like the closest one to where I was standing at the time that they gave me the option. But I would imagine you can do them in any order, because otherwise, why even have the other ones open and available? Because then that gotta just be the illusion of choice.
Yeah.
It's like if you're telling a directed narrative, then just do that. But yeah, I'm kind of glad a little bit that I chose that one first, just because of some big things that happen where it's like, oh, I wonder how this would hit if I'd done this even second. But it does make me wonder what the other stuff, like what happens there, and maybe I'll change my mind of like, oh, maybe that would have been better than come first. But I'm enjoying it. I've gorgeous game. Believe it or not, it's a very pretty game. I don't know if you guys have heard about this. But it's a game I don't get tired of looking at. And I'm having fun with it so far. I'm enjoying Atsu as a character so far. Yeah, there's like a bunch of, in terms of like, there's the big stuff, and then there's like little things that I kind of squeeze in that aren't going to make our top 10, but there's stuff I would still like to, just get done because they're like shorter.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've been playing a lot of Is the Seat Taken? Like I'm at the end of it.
Yes. I love that game. I was like debating. I was like, I don't think enough people have played it, and it's not like a huge budget, like intense experience, but I'm just like, I just love everything that game does.
It's such a nice,
I enjoy it too, yeah.
And it's a nice game to just play when I'm like listening to a podcast, or I've had wrestling on in another monitor, and it's just like, it's perfect for that. Like I'm just gonna move these little guys around and then have something else happening behind me, and it's like really fun. So I've played it just in chunks of like, when I want to consume other content, I will put is this seat taken on? And I'm literally like 2 worlds away from the finale. So I'll finish that soon. Keeper, the Double Fine game, and playing that. That's another short thing, but I'm enamored with the presentation of that game. Like, I think that game, when we get to it, is like a best art contender.
Sure,
it's a beautiful game. I don't know if you guys have started it yet, but it is like,
I've watched. I was watching Janet Garcia stream it from Inmax a little bit. I was lurking. And
okay,
looks gorgeous.
Yeah, I think it's their best looking game, Double Fines. I mean, and they put out some like really cool, like just visually interesting looking game. But yeah, Keeper is like, it's like their art sensibilities, but like also they've been injected with a ton of money from Microsoft.
Yeah.
So it's like the best of both worlds. Yeah, there's God. It's like I don't want to go down my full like, 'cause I think we're all just hopping around touching things. I will say, Alex, you're going to be really proud of me. I haven't started it yet, but for the first time in many, many, many years, I have a new Pokemon game because I got ZA code, and I'm like, I'm going to play a Pokemon game for the first time in forever. This is going to be interesting.
Yeah, I haven't put enough time into it as I want to. I'm only like rank Y. So I'm like very early.
Yeah, no,
I think it's.
Oh, wait, you start from Z?
Yeah, maybe maybe I'm X rank. I don't know. I'm very early. I don't like how slow the intro is to that game. It takes forever.
Every Pokemon game has a slow intro, but this one feels particularly
like I'm in tar.
Yeah, I think
how does it rank compared to like the intro to Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword? Which are also infamously slow starts.
Those Twilight Princess but at least Twilight Princess fun earlier.
Yeah, it's more intriguing. Like this is a Pokemon game. I know exactly what I'm going to be doing. Whereas like I feel like Twilight Princess there's more mystery in the beginning.
Sure.
This one, it's like I know what I'm going to be doing in this entire game. Let me just do it. You know,
like, I got to catch them all. I get it.
Yeah. So. Granted, it's a game that's meant for young people that adults can also enjoy. So I get
like ourselves, we are young people.
We are young people. At least 2 of us on the call are. But
I'll let you guess who.
I don't know.
Maybe the guy who didn't know who Young Gravy was. Maybe that's a big giveaway.
If he was called Old Gravy, I would have been all over it.
Yeah, it's just the old gravy.
Old gravy. Old country gravy.
I've a couple games that are on my kind of quick hit list that I've been meaning to go back to. I installed Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Full disclosure, I boycotted the first game because of some really dumb comments from, I think it was the creative director at the time, and I was like, I don't need to give this thing my money. And that's kind of what my energy was with the second one. But I've kind of had that battle in my head where I'm like, am I going to write off an entire game because of one guy at the studio?
Yeah,
is he still there?
Said some dumb stuff, whereas like a bunch of people worked really hard on this game, and I hear excellent things about it. So I'm like, and also I think I don't know, but I think they backtracked on like the first game was like, you know, no people of color in this game. I'm like, and there were people because of history, and people were like, no, actually, if you look into history, there are plenty of people of color in this era. And they kind of admitted, I think they were wrong and changed that in the second one from what I hear. So like, I want to give it a shot. I've heard great things from Wes on staff about it. So I want to play that a bit, cause I think it's definitely going to be a talker.
I think that's all of our secret Shane game is Kingdom Come.
Yeah. I think it's also like, this is not shade to Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 specifically, but it's also a thing where it's like, it's when a game is that long, and your job is to play a lot of games, it's always easier to not play the game than it is to play it. So I think it's a thing of like, it's just hard to be like, oh, all of us got to play that game because that's like 5 or 6 other games worth of game in this one time frame. Wes is the one that reviewed it for us, so he like had to play it. But that is one thing about like, as like game critics, like a big weakness we have is like when we're playing a lot of games, it's really hard for people to make time to play the really, really big games. Like I don't know if anyone else on staff finished Baldur's Gate 3 other than me.
I
was in Act 3.
I'm very far, but
I at the time finished it because I was only part-time working at Game Informer, so I had a lot more free time than everyone else to actually finish that game, and that's the only reason I did.
Yeah. And you're like, what are these idiots? They can't make time to finish this game.
Yeah.
And I was also like, feverishly obsessed with that game. But, it is one of the things that like there's not much we can do unless we had like a much bigger staff where people could like pick more games. We didn't have to worry about covering it all out. But I think that's a thing that I feel bad about, but also like if I had played that, then like there's a lot of other games I wouldn't have had time for early in this year that I'm glad I got to check out. So it's hard.
Yeah. The two I've besides Kingdom Come, the other two that I've gone back to and I've been reinstalling and stuff. One, as like the multiplayer guy on staff, I kind of feel like a responsibility to like, I should keep up with like the big ones that came out this year. And I really enjoyed Supervive in the beta period late last year, and it hit 1.0 this year in July. So I've been going back to that one, and that one's like a really interesting multiplayer game. A lot of like MOBA elements, but also I remember early on they were talking about like Smash Bros, kind of like what those standoffs kind of look like. But that one I'm replaying right now. And then I installed Abiotic Factor on my Steam Deck I'm doing a fresh save on that so I can I was playing it with co-op with people and they all dropped off, and it's hard to go back to a co-op save file when it's just you. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to do a solo run because they've continued to add expansions to that game. Like one just came out this past week. And it's one of those games that's like overwhelmingly positive on Steam, and it's like, okay, I want to make sure that this is like covered,
represented.
Yeah. Whether it's on just my list or even maybe I decide not to include it, but like I want to give it a better shake than I did because I really enjoyed what I was playing. Maybe more so than the other people I was playing with, but yeah, those are two that I've been kind of going back to.
In a hypothetical scenario where, let's say you had unlimited time to play one game in your backlog for 2025, which would it be?
Like with the rest of the year, I can only pick one of these games.
Yeah, like you're just like, I need unlimited time for this one game that I really want to, I know it's important or I think is important that I would not have time to play otherwise.
Honestly, it might be Abiotic Factor. I could say Claire Obscure, but I feel like we have plenty of representation on staff of people who are like vying for that game that I'm like, I trust y'all. If y'all, when it comes down, it's going to rank pretty high on our list. It's probably in consideration for like our number one. We're still having all those talks, but I'm like, I've played it. I see why everyone would enjoy it. And granted, we said I had it spoiled for me in several ways, and it kind of again took the wind out of my sails. So I'm like, even though I don't want to sink time into it, I can recognize based on what I've played that it is such a high caliber game, and the performances from even the ones I had seen were incredible. So it's like, okay, I'll take your word that like this is something that's worth, celebrating. Whereas I'd rather focus on something that's a little less, I don't think I might be the only one on staff who is, I think Eric might have played a little bit of Abiotic Factor because he was one of the original people that was in my co-op save and he left. But, I would rather like put my time into a game to like make sure our bases are covered,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would probably do Kingdom Come Deliverance too, just because
actually, yeah, that's the right choice. I don't know why. That's 100% the right choice.
Just it's just a game that like Wes is so passionate about and nobody else even has like an educated experience with. And it's a thing that I would like to be able to say that it's good or that it's not good or whatever, just like doing that. I think the other one maybe is Ghost of Yotei because I have played like 15 hours of it and I'm kind of in it, but like I decided to pause it and go play other stuff just because I was like, I know I like this. Maybe it'll fall off at the end, but there's other things I need to get to. But I think the most impactful for like Game Informer's sake would probably be Kingdom Come Deliverance 2.
Yeah, mine's pretty much probably Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Though if a number 2 would probably be Death Stranding 2, actually. Like I still have not, despite playing 30 hours of that game for the preview trip that I took this year to Kojima Productions, I still have not gotten back to that point just because I've been so busy with other games. Like I've gotten maybe a third of the way to where I left off in Japan. So I mean, I still have like 30 hours worth of like thoughts about it. But I keep hearing that game ends real strong. Like everyone says it's got a great finale. And it's like, oh, I want to see that. And I know I'm gonna beat it. I just don't know if I'll be able to get to that point. All right, actually, I definitely won't be able to get to that point by the time we need to like lock in our top 10 and stuff. So that would be the other one, I guess. Put me back in Kojima's like weird repurposed cafeteria in front of a computer for another 30 hours.
Fair. Well, guys, I think that brings us to the end of the show. It's been an amazing time with you all. Thank you, listeners, for carving some time out of your week. It means a lot. I want to give a shout out to a listener that went very much out of their way to send a handwritten note to me.
Whoa.
Vis-a-vis Leo Vader. A person named Josh Hannanen, who I believe is a Minnesota local, and went very much out of his way and wrote a very kind note, and gave me a gift card for my wife and I to go on a date night randomly.
Oh, wow.
Which I want to say, Josh, you should not give me money. But I literally tried to find you on social media and I can't find you. So I do want to just say, and I know Josh said he was a big listener, so thank you, Josh. It was very sweet of you. Do not give me any more money, please.
But you know where you can give your money.
Yeah.
GameInformer.com/subscribe.
Exactly. That's where you can get a print and digital magazine subscription. It's the best way to support us, and means a lot. But yeah, guys, I think that's gonna be it this week. Follow Charles at ChuckDuck365. Follow Marcus at MarcusStewart7, and you can follow me at It's Van Aken. Don't forget, tune into our live streams every week, Wednesdays and Fridays, twitch.tv/GameInformer. Watch our videos at youtube.com/GameInformer. All right, that'll be it. Enjoy your week. I hope everybody had a great Halloween and your November's off to a great start. It's my birthday month. Just want to say. So.
My birthday this weekend.
Oh, dude.
Double birthday.
Congrats. How old?
Yeah. 38. 38. I had to think about that. I don't know why.
Nice.
Yeah.
Your
like
homework,
I said, the young one on staff.
Yeah, Young Gravy. You got to look it up for your birthday. You're going to love
it. Are you guys the same star sign?
No, he's
Scorpio?
a Scorpio. He's a Scorpio. I'm a Sagittarius.
You're later. Okay.
Whenever I tell people I'm a Sagittarius, they're always like, oh. And I'm like, what does that mean?
They slowly back away from me.
I don't even know what either of those are. I was just curious.
Scorpio is a scorpion, water sign. Sagittarius.
Scorpios talk a lot more about astrology than I feel like other signs.
I think I'm an air sign.
I don't at all.
Well, you don't. I'm just saying that, like, I hear things about Scorpios more than I hear things about Sagittariuses.
Oh, I'm a fire sign, apparently.
Fire, dude.
My wife just poked her head in the room and says that it's fire.
She's like, what, astrology?
Yeah. Alrighty, guys. Everybody enjoy your week. We'll see you next week, next Friday. Bye.